Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio, 580 AM, 107.5 FM. And today is the last day of Win Kevin Miller's Money. Our cash code word is barbecue. Barbecue. And type that word in at KIDOTalkRadio.com, and you could win up to $5,000. Our last word of the last run of the last contest, at least for the spring or summer, take your pick, will be at 3:05. Listen for that code word during the Sean Hannity Show. Looking forward to that. Joining us now, once again, is our old friend, Dr. Meg Meeker, joining us, author, woman of the world, and defender of all that is good and family-friendly. Dr. Meeker, good morning.
Thanks for having me so much. Good morning.
Good to have you with us. So we've got a new book out. You've got this, Unlocking the Hero Dad Within. Here we have Father's Day coming up. Does it get the same run as Mother's Day?
No, unfortunately, and you can track that actually because you look at sales of Mother's Day cards versus Father's Day cards and gifts bought for dads versus moms, and there's a real disparity there. You know, and that's one of the reasons I wrote the book is because the amount of encouragement out there for dads is very slim. And, you know, dads are often portrayed in movies and sitcoms as sort of the butt of everybody's joke. And from where I sit as a pediatrician, not only is that not true because dads are critical to their kids' involvement in their kids' lives, but also, you know, a child really wants to have their dad engaged. And a dad is larger than life in a child's eyes for good or bad. So I really wanted to give some pushback to the sort of dad shaming, but also to turn things on their head and say, look, Dad, you really do have this. From your child's perspective, they just want you to get the big stuff right.
Well, indeed, of course, with Father's Day just around the corner, unlocking the hero dad within. Why do you think dads have become the butt of all jokes? And does that have an impact on how society portrays fathers in real life of what we see in fiction?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think that we've seen this sort of, marginalization of dads and putting down of dads building over the past 20 years. And I think there are several different factors involved. I think that, you know, as we've increased attention and focus and encouragement to mothers and women in particular, which a lot of it's been great, but we sort of shoved dads aside and said in order to sort of empower mothers and encourage single moms, we say, well, but they really don't need dads. Kids really don't need dads. And, you know, we've got the Me Too movement going on, which really is kind of been hijacked. And so there's some demonization of a lot of good men out there. Of course, there's some dads that are horrible and jerks and do terrible things. But in my experience, the majority of dads and men are really doing a great job. And then finally, I think that a lot of people in Hollywood have realized there's a lot of money to be made by making dads the butt of everybody's joke. You know, the kind of person that needs correction from a snarky 11-year-old kid, and that may be popular, and people, you know, pay money to watch dads in that role. And so, but that has a profound effect on how dads see themselves and how kids treat their dads. So that's why we really need to recognize what's going on. Hey, wait a minute. We need to turn the tide. Dads are critically important in their kids' life, and kids want their dads. They don't want their dads to be the doofus in the family and the butt of everybody's joke.
Dr. Meg Meeker with us, Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio, talking about dads. What are the dangers when you have a dad gone bad or an absentee father? What are the impacts we see on the child, Dr. Meeker, and the impacts we see on society?
Well, you can see it every level, every area of the child's life affected when dad is either not engaged or, very, very distant, and even really doesn't see his child. And that is that kids who don't have a dad in their lives, involved in their lives, are much higher rates of depression, anxiety, don't graduate from high school and college at the rates that kids who have a dad do. They're more likely to have a higher self-esteem, sometimes even a higher IQ. Kids just do so much better in life across the board when they have a dad involved, a dad engaged. You don't have to have a PhD in psychology or be a perfect dad. Kids just need a good enough dad, and that's going to make all the difference in the world in the adult they become and how successful and happy and well-balanced they are in life. So, we're really not talking about stellar, perfect, amazing dads. We're talking about dads who are engaged. It's a game changer for every son and every daughter.
What about the child's perspective, whether it's a son or a daughter? How do they view their dad or their daddy?
Well, and remember, one of the things I really try hard in the book is to allow dads to see themselves through their child's eyes. Because dads look at their kids and go, well, I'm not good at this and I'm not a hero and I'm not this. But a child looks at a dad and goes, you're the center of life. You're smarter than everybody I know. You're stronger than everybody I know. You're the guy who's going to watch out for me, have my back, and protect me. What you say about me really matters. What you think about me really matters. And dads often think, well, it's the coach or the teacher or getting their kids out and playing soccer and going to camp that really it makes a difference in a kid's life. It isn't. To a child, it's if their dad says they're smart, they're smart. If their dad pays attention and said, no, you need to be home at 10 o'clock and not 11 o'clock because I don't want anything bad to happen to you, that child feels like they're the most important person in the whole world. If dad says he loves you, it doesn't matter what else anybody else says, that you're valuable. So dad is the one who fills the critical need in the child. Moms are important too. I don't mean to say that. There's something about getting a dad's approval that communicates you can do anything you put your mind to if your dad says so. That's how a child views a dad, not always how a dad views himself.
Dr. Meeker, that's a great point at KIDO Talk Radio. When we're thinking of how fathers view themselves, it's always, work hard so the family can take the vacation, fixing things to save money. If the overtime is there, they're all about the deferred gratification away from their family. How do we send the message to fathers that, it's okay to go to the ballet. It's okay to really be an active part of your kids. And I'm not saying fathers aren't, but, we're wired to, do the concrete things, the not so fun things, as opposed to being more sensitive.
I think it's a great point, but I think our culture really encourages and puts pressure on dads to believe that what their kids want is their stuff. They want the camp. They want the soccer lesson. They want the outfits. They want the car. They want the nicer home. Kids could care less about that. All kids want and really need is more time with their dad. Think about your own life looking back. If you have a good dad, you wanted more time. If you had a painful relationship with your dad, you wanted more healing. That's the game changer. So we need to drill it into dads. If kids don't want their stuff and they don't want the programs, they want dad. They want dad in the same room. They want to throw a ball. They want him to read a book. They want to go for a walk. They want to have breakfast with them on Saturday morning. They want to run errands with their dad. That's what changes who kids become when they grow up. It's not all the bells and whistles, but that's what our culture teaches mothers and fathers is, get out there and do well by your kids and make a good living and make enough money and get a bigger house and your kids will be happy. The exact opposite of what kids would say. The opposite of what we need to be teaching dads.
You've got this, Unlocking the Hero Dad Within. Dr. Meg Meeker joining us. Kevin Miller here on 580 AM, 107.5 FM, KIDO Talk Radio. So, Dr. Meeker, in researching another one of your soon-to-be bestsellers, any stories of inspiration that you can share with us from your book?
Yes, I tell you, I opened the book writing about my own dad who passed away of dementia several years ago. And my dad was a quiet guy. He was an introvert. He smoked a pipe. He didn't say much. But I always, and he fought his own demons, but I always knew growing up that he had my back and he believed in me more than anybody else. When I was 16, I wanted to go to medical school. After I graduated college, I got one after another rejection of schools, medical schools. Nobody wanted me. And I overheard my dad say to a friend one day as I passed by the room, and he knew I got those rejection letters, my daughter is going to be going to med school in the next year or two. And in the face of the rejection that I received from my dream, going to med school, when I heard my dad say that, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I was going to go because my dad said so. And that set the trajectory for the course of the next 30 years of my life. One comment that I overheard my dad say on the phone, he didn't even know I was listening. That's how dads change a kid's life. Conversations, moments, overhearing a dad's conversation, that changes who your kids become. So dads, you need to hold on to that, and you need to just be present in your kids' life. Let them overhear you say stuff about them. That's who they're going to become.
We'll overhear good stuff about them.
Good stuff and the bad. If you say your kid's a failure and a mess up, guess who that kid becomes? So spin it, use it for good, and let them hear you saying good stuff about them. Show up in their lives, and that's how you get them to succeed.
Dr. Meeker, finally, any thoughts on Father's Day and advice for people, whether they're dads or daddies or dads or pops or whatever, young or old, what would you say would be a great gift for someone for Father's Day?
Well, I think the gift of encouragement and telling them, look, it doesn't matter what has happened to this day. You may feel like you've messed up or failed your kids. Get over it. Start here. Move forward. Your kids always want more of you. They want more time or more healing. So relax a little bit. Give yourself some grace. Start where you are. And just commit to spend 10 more minutes a day, either on the phone or present with your kids. In 2 weeks, you'll have a different kid on your hands.
And what about for kids for their dads? Any thoughts? Or moms for their husbands?
Yes. Moms for your husbands. Speak well of your husbands. Quit criticizing, and don't complain. We all do that much too quickly, and myself included. So, show him some respect. Give him some praise, and particularly in front of your kids. That will improve their relationship with their dad. It'll make dad be a better dad. And guess what? It'll improve your relationship with your kids, mom, dad, grandfather, if you speak well of their dad. It's a game changer in your entire household. If you change the way you talk to the dad in your life or your husband, it just makes everyone a lot happier.
Well, Dr. Meeker, we always appreciate your work. And where can people get your book?
Anywhere. You can go to megmeekermd.com, and I encourage parents to listen to my podcast. It's pretty popular, Parenting Great Kids. I interview a lot of really cool dads on my podcast, some famous and not so famous.
All right, Dr. Meeker, you stay out of trouble.
Yeah, and you as well. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
All right, Dr. Meeker, thank you. And if you'd like to talk about your dad, maybe he's listening right now, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Whether it's Mother's Day, whether it's Father's Day, there should be more than just a day, right? Whether we're fathers or not, you see the good ones, and you hope that the not-so-good ones can make it back. And hopefully we're seeing a pendulum turning in America where we're not going to have the absentee fathers, where we're not going to have people abandoning their families. That's another thing. We're not going to tiptoe around that issue. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
You've got some excitement out on your lawn today. Hello, Mr. President. What brings you here?
Are we on already?
We're on. We're live.
Oh, wow, that's good.
We're on every channel.
We had a very exciting trip over here, I have to say.
No kidding.
That was good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I was here for the baseball game. How about Steve Scalise last night?
I think he's great. How about the first play of the game?
Unbelievable.
He's a great guy. Courageous.
Right.
Like you.
Yeah. Huh? Sure. Having you stop by live, I got some questions for you.
I was mugged by the media.
They've got questions for you. I'm hoping I can ask a lot of the questions they've got.
They're very, very nice people.
The IG report came out yesterday. The FBI looks bad.
Very bad.
Your FBI.
Well, no, it was Comey. I mean, they were talking about Comey, not my FBI. It was Comey. The people in the FBI are incredible. I would bet if you took a poll in the FBI, I would win that poll by more than anybody's ever won a poll. But the top people were horrible. You look at what happened. They were plotting against my election. Probably has never happened like that in terms of intelligence, in terms of anything else.
Right.
But they were actually plotting against my election.
The headline right now
But
is...
I'm actually proud because I beat Clinton dynasty.
Right.
I beat Bush dynasty. And now, I guess, hopefully I'm in the process of beating very dishonest intelligence, because what they did was incredible. And a real insult to millions of people that voted in that election. On both.
There you have it. The president with Steve Doocy on Fox and Friends earlier today. And remember, when you hear Fox News on the radio, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio saying they plotted to get him. They plotted to steal the election. That's what this IG report is saying. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Time is 8:25 on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. KIDO Talk Radio traffic. Eastbound on the freeway coming out of Canyon County right near the Franklin Interchange Pass there on the right-hand side. Have an accident working. Inbound on the connector, lane blockage. A left lane blocked as you head down toward River Street. Move to the right. Hot savings during Ashley Home Store in Ontario's Summer Fun Sale. Save up to 30% plus 12-month special financing or 0% interest for 72 months on furniture and mattresses. Ashley Home Store in Ontario, next to Albertsons. That's your Impact Directory traffic update. I'm Dave Burnett on KIDO Talk Radio.
KIDO Talk Radio weather from the Channel 7 First Alert Weather Center. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Kevin. Cloudy skies through much of the day, although we're starting off with some spots seeing a little bit of showers for this morning. High today, 77. That's a little bit below normal for this time of the year, and we're going to stay on the cooler side as we go through the weekend. Chance of some showers for Father's Day afternoon with some thunderstorms. I'm just Channel 7's Eric Gebert.
A lot of people say that. Look,
Given the IG report and stuff that's coming out.
They're getting people who say something a little bit off. Is it a nice day? Well, no, it's not a great day. Oops, he lied. He goes, got problems. People are afraid of that, and I would like to talk, but it seems to be very biased.
Mm-hmm. One of some of the texts, and we're not going to quote them, were very vicious regarding people who support you.
They're vicious. I have the greatest supporters in the world. By the way, they're the smartest, they're the hardest working, they pay taxes, they're incredible, they're loyal. I have the bikers, I have the construction workers, I have them all. By the way, I have the FBI. You go into the FBI and take a poll of the real FBI, not the scum on top, not Comey and that group of people that are total thieves.
Most of those are gone.
Well, I don't know how Peter Strzok is still working there, to be honest with you.
He's working in HR.
It doesn't matter. That's even worse.
Mr. President, this is your FBI.
You know what I've done, and you know this, I've told you this. I'm so involved. Great new Secretary of State.
Right.
I have a fantastic relationship now with North Korea. There were missiles being thought about.
Yeah.
People aren't thinking about it anymore. I said on the Department of Justice, I would stay uninvolved. Now, I may get involved at some point if it gets worse. I say I'm staying uninvolved. I'm letting this report go through. I did nothing wrong. There was no collusion. There was no obstruction.
But, Mr. President, I was on Capitol Hill yesterday, and there are a number of congressional Republicans who are, they're trying to get some documents from your Department of Justice, your FBI.
I tried to stay involved. I may not stay involved, uninvolved, because they have to get the documents. Look, I think everybody
But your
agrees.
FBI is stonewalling.
I think that Rod Rosenstein thinks that you have to get the documents. I really believe that. I saw him yesterday. He gave me a briefing. I think that he believes you have to get the documents.
What did he say regarding...
I wish Steve Doocy, Peter's his kid, who actually works for Fox News. You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio, exclusive interview with the President of the United States on the White House lawn. He went out to the folks at Fox, and it's like, Steve, just let the President talk.
Regarding the IG report.
Well, he wasn't thrilled about it. I mean, you can't be if you're in there now, but it really was talking about the past. It's not talking about us. It's talking about before us, and it's talking about the election. Mm-hmm. What they did during the election was a disgrace. It's probably never happened in our country before, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. What's going to happen when we go further? Mm-hmm. And there was total bias. Total bias.
From what you've seen so far, should James Comey be locked up?
Well, look, I would never want to get involved in that. Certainly, they just seem like very criminal acts to me. What he did was criminal. What he did was a terrible thing to the people. What he did was so bad in terms of our Constitution, in terms of the well-being of our country. What he did was horrible. Should he be locked up? Let somebody make a determination. Look at all the dishonest things that crooked Hillary did. Look at what's gone on. It's very sad.
Sounds like he was using a private email, too.
He had a private email. That was, of all the things, that wasn't, to me, maybe the most interesting, but it was probably the funniest.
Because she got in big trouble for her private email.
Yeah.
Oh, James Comey's using one,
That
too.
was a little bit of a surprise, I have to say.
Yeah. From what we've seen, though, regarding the IG report, it sounds like Comey made some bad judgments, but nothing criminal.
Well, if you look at what happened, and don't forget all of these people like Strzok, what he did was criminal. Strzok and so many others. McCabe is
You
now
mean
up.
the bias, the animus?
Well, they all worked for Comey, and Comey knew everything that was going on. You think McCabe didn't tell him everything? McCabe told him everything, and McCabe is up for criminal right now.
And now he's
most
suing the
people
Department
think
of Justice.
And he's now suing, and it's a total mess. They're all...
By the way, you're not listening to a private conversation. This happened moments ago on Fox News. You're home for Fox News in the Treasure Valley, 580 AM, 107.5 FM.
going against each other. No, I think Comey was the ringleader of this whole, den of thieves. It was a den of thieves.
Are you confident that either through the congressional investigators or the IG report or new management at the FBI, things are going to work out, things are cleaning up, and we'll get to the bottom of all that stuff?
I do believe so. I think it's happening. It's happening slowly, but it's happening. I think Christopher Wray is very different from Comey, which is what you need. You need different. You need like the opposite.
So there you have it. Coming up next, we'll get your thoughts on the president calling them a den of thieves, and Peter Strzok should be fired. You wouldn't hear that from Obama. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin. Overnight fire crews battling a wildfire in the Boise foothills. According to dispatch, the fire was called in at around 3:30 this morning. It's located behind a neighborhood around West Hill Road and North Ferry Lane, just off Siemens Gulch. Multiple engines are on the scene, and we have a crew on the...
Yeah, they said they will stop me. Well, in the meantime, the economy hit an all-time high this morning. Never been better. Jobless rate, the lowest, the best in 44 years, just came out. We're going to have some incredible things. We're just announcing very big tariffs today on China because China has been, look, he's my friend, President Xi. He's a great man. He's a wonderful guy, but at some point we have to straighten it out. We lost $500 billion in trade deficits last year. We can't do that.
There we have it. The president exclusively this morning on Fox News Radio, Fox and Friends. 580 AM, 107.5 FM, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. A final thought, then we'll get some of your calls on this at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And the trade war looming. We'll see how the markets react, Mr. President.
Now, the trade war was started many years ago by them, and the United States lost.
So you're saying we're on the losing end of it?
Well, no, there is no trade war. They've taken so much. So last year, $375 billion in trade deficit. We had a 300 with China. We had overall over $800 billion over a period of years. Each year, close to $800 billion in losses on trade. It's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. Can't happen.
And there we have it. There we have it. The President of the United States laying the smackdown. And you're going to have a lot of people that are going to poo-poo the report, saying that it's not political. Well, you don't have to read the report. You can just hear the excerpts here where you have Peter Strzok saying to his mistress, Lisa Page, we're not going to let Trump win. Imagine if somebody had said that about Obama. Imagine if somebody had said that about Bill Clinton. And let me just read this text from CNBC. We're going to stop him. We'll stop Donald Trump from getting elected president. Can you believe this? And just like the president said, Comey knew about this. Now, Strzok was just not some slappy. He worked in the senior role in the Clinton email investigation. He joined the staff of Mueller's team. He wrote to Page, an attorney, that the two would stop the president from being elected. Trump is not ever going to become president, right? Page, who worked on Mueller's staff, responded, by the way, this shows you how non-credible the people on Mueller's staff are. No, he won't. We'll stop it, Strzok texted back. So after a year-long investigation that included a review of millions of communications and interviews, the IG concluded there's no evidence that the political views of Strzok and others in the FBI impacted the handling of the Clinton administration? Are you kidding me? Agent Strzok was consistently thorough and aggressive. Sometimes that put him at odds with senior officials at the Department of Justice. And yet he's texting his girlfriend, they're going to stop President Trump. At the very least, isn't that a conflict of interest? At the very least, it's time for Strzok to get the boot. At the very least, there needs to be a more thorough investigation. The Department of Justice needs to release everything they have to the House Intelligence and Judicial Committee. Right? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. That is one topic that continues to ruminate here. Number two, this idea of a trade war with China. We'll get to that. But there was some fireworks at the White House where you have people going off on Sarah Sanders because she's the president's press secretary. She basically was holding her White House briefing yesterday. And this is why I think the White House doesn't do a lot of these anymore, because reporters don't ask legitimate questions. They don't even ask the gotcha questions. They don't even ask anything else. They just want to cut a promo. You know, yesterday we gave away tickets to the WWE. It's almost like these folks want to be in wrestling. Case in point, in case you haven't heard.
Law and protecting our borders. We would like to fix these loopholes, and if Democrats want to get serious about it instead of playing political games, they're welcome to come here and sit down with the president and actually do something about it.
Jill, don't you have any empathy?
Jill, go ahead.
Come on, Sarah, you're a parent. Don't you have any empathy for what these people are going through?
Jill,
they have less than you do.
Guys,
Sarah, come on,
settle down.
Seriously.
I'm trying to be serious, but I'm not going to have you yell out of turn. Jill, please call.
It's a law, and they have, these people have nothing.
Hey, Ryan, I know you want to get some more TV time, but that's not what this is about. If I want to recognize you, go ahead, Jill.
Honestly, answer the question. It's a serious question. These people have nothing. They come to the border with nothing, and you throw children in cages. You're a parent. You're a parent of young children.
There we have it. We put people in cages. Well, yeah, if you break the law. But you have, others like Nancy Pelosi saying there should be marches across the country. There should be marches across the country for the people that are not being allowed to come into this country illegally. And this is how bad that it's gotten, where you have Jeff Sessions just wanting to enforce the laws. And you have these guys going, well, we need to do this, we need to do that. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe we should just enforce the laws that we have, right? Where in any other sense of civilization have you had people saying, well, no, the illegal people, the criminals, have more rights than the citizens of America? It just doesn't make sense. That's why Trump continues to resonate. That's why Trump continues to be so popular, President Trump, that is. Why? Because he tells it like it is. He says, look, quite frankly, there's nothing there. They're breaking the law. They should, in fact, be charged just like you break the law when you go, you exceed the speed limit. But we don't have that, do we? The press and their collusive efforts to undermine this administration is just insane. By the way, a big event last night in Washington, D.C., Steve Scalise returned.
I think he's great. How about the play? The first play of the game.
Unbelievable.
He's a great guy. Courageous.
Right. Courageous guy. So those are topics there about the IG report. Channel 7 is running a follow-up story that they ran the other day, and I think the Statesman ran it as well. I can't keep track. Well, I can because Channel 7 is our news partner, and the Statesman refuses to acknowledge, with the rare exception of Cynthia Sewell's article a couple weeks ago about our exclusive interview with Scott Pruitt, the Statesman continues to not acknowledge the significance of you, our message, and this audience. But regardless of that, a story, again, about affordable housing in the Treasure Valley. Now, we know if you want to buy a home and you aren't a millionaire, forget it. You can sign away the rest of your life and make mortgage payments until you get Social Security payments, and you might get into a home. Now rents are going up. And the scary part about this is, in a state that prides itself on limited government, in a state that says to itself, you know, maybe we should take a look at things, whether it's protecting home buyers from excessive property taxes, whether it's putting rent controls on. You know, if you want limited government, you have to let the market run wild and free. Now, again, the demand is going crazy. Very different from the world that I came into 9 years ago when I dropped in here in the Treasure Valley. Very different. Homes were affordable. Today, they're not. We're building more homes. Sooner or later, the inventory will catch up with the demand. And seniors losing their homes and such. Is it the case in point that you start looking to state government, that you start looking to local and city government to protect folks? Or, as most conservatives would say, as most others would say, hey, I'm sorry about that, but this is a state, this is an area where we don't have socialism, where Bernie Sanders doesn't run this place, and we're not going to put rent controls on people. And we can do the faux outrage, and we can talk about people losing their homes, and that is nothing to joke about, right? Nothing to joke about. But on the other hand, you know, what's the solution? The solution is, if you believe in limited government, if you believe in the free market, then you have to let it run its course. Unless you're trying to create some type of political change. And then, in case in point, you would put rent controls on like they have in New York City. Maybe they have them in California. I don't know. I'm not an expert on California. Maybe you limit the amount of income or profit a landlord could take. I mean, these are aggressive and extreme measures, but the story about affordable housing, I don't know where you go from this. I don't know how you advance the story. Yes, homes are expensive. Remember, it was 5 years ago that homes in Canyon County went from a median price of $140,000 to $70,000. And these same homes now are probably over $200,000. I mean, this is just how it is, but you have this churn. Yes, I feel sorry for people. I've almost been there. I could be there tomorrow. I'm scared. You know, I have home insecurity all the time. But what are you going to do about it except report it? And then it just sounds like a wah, wah, wah. Right? 580-5436-580-KIDO. Maybe that's where the churches come in. Maybe that's where somebody, some rich philanthropist, like a modern-day version of Andrew Carnegie, comes in and they build affordable homes. Well, Kevin, the prices go up all the time. People want to get their deal. I get it. But one thing Bill O'Reilly said, and it's funny, Bill O'Reilly still is so great, whether he's on Facebook or on television. I hope he comes back to TV one day, because he was talking to you. And I almost said, you know, it's one thing that Bill O'Reilly said to me. Well, he said it to me and the millions of other people that were watching Bill O'Reilly. How much is too much? How much is too much when we're talking about money? Let's discuss next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. As we move along here, let's go to Max in Garden City. Max, good morning.
Good morning. I believe there is a solution to the runaway home prices. There really is. But it's going to take guts, and it's not going to take state overreach. An impact assessment fee, an impact fee on the purchase of any home over $180,000 by non-residents. If you're coming from California, you want to buy a home for $250,000, fine. 35% impact fee on any home over $180,000. And secondly, a finance follow-up report. In other words, where's the money coming from? Let's make sure we don't have a Californian buying his home here through a resident. Now, you want to stop
a straw
him?
man,
That's going to put
like the
the brakes
drugs.
on him right there.
All right, Max, thank you for the call. We're joined in studio by Aaron and Rob of Team Mazda Subaru. Boys, it's been a while.
I don't know if we can follow Max.
Strong.
Max was strong. He had a message.
Max did have a message. He did indeed. We talk about affordability and, affordable homes. You guys live in the area. You love the area. Prices continue to go up.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of 07, doesn't it?
It does when you think about the unemployment rate. I think in Ada County was hovering around 2%, but the values of the homes are going up. But on the other hand, the deals are great, especially this week at Team Mazda Subaru.
That a boy. And the prices are just